In this assignment, we explore the concept of cliché. Cliché can be a trap for an artist. It can, if employed unknowingly, if an artist reaches for an object or a symbol or an image that is cliché, but the artist doesn't know how cliché it is, they can get into trouble by making something unintentionally mundane. Also, though, an artist can embrace the cliché. An artist can find things that are cliché and employ their vision, their inspiration to transform that object, to use the cliché qualities of that object to go deeper and to create meaningful objects worthy of contemplation. And that's this assignment, to transform something that is kitsch or cliché into an object worthy of contemplation. Clichés are in the world all around us. Here, these are images that you can find online when you're looking for businesses, when you're looking for help with a technical issue. When you go to a website, there's always a picture like this. And these are actors. These are not people who know anything about IT or coding or anything. They're just images of people who are supposed to be, who are chosen because they look like people you would like to help you. They look very helpful. So they're cliches. A trite expression, often a figure of speech whose effectiveness is worn out through overuse and excessive familiarity. In my day, it was "have a nice day" was something that I was around when it was first being said, and then it was just said so often that it became exhausting. And that's the thing about a cliche, is that a cliche, you're so familiar with it that it actually becomes exhausting, because even though it might be true or it might be sincere, it is so overused that your mind just goes to sleep at the first sound of the first words of it. You may be familiar with cliche songs that are often fantastic, but have been played so many times over and over and over again that you become exhausted merely by hearing them. The first time that I worked this assignment with my students, I had been given hundreds of these little angels from a colleague who was the director of a mission and who was cleaning out the gift shop. And so she gave me a couple of large boxes of these angels, and every student got 3 of them to create a sculpture to break through the cliche. And with these broken egg images, perhaps this is the best one for breaking through a cliche. So here you have the angel sitting at top of this cage. In the bottom of the cage is lots of broken eggs. The angel has a broken egg. It doesn't particularly make sense, but it's really fascinating and worthy of looking at. Here, the angel head is pretty much all that remains from this one, and it's been grafted onto a Ken doll with an eagle head and an animal head and this angel head, and then wings of feathers. Rather provocative and strange image. Here's one where the student cut open the angel, put in all kinds of gummy worms, and then experimented with what happens when you put a propane torch on the angel. Turns out it creates all this expansive foaming thing. So that's what they did. They kind of melted this angel. This is a kind of relief of angel parts. They took apart the angels. You see at the base, the relief is held up by 3 angel foundations, and then the wings are throughout this image, and some heads, and it says, "I believe in angels, do you?" Here is a Bailey's Irish Cream pitcher, and inside is a little angel having a great old time, taking a little Bailey's bath. This is a really moving piece where the student took a lot of, took the angel cliche and then took those and turned them into, through paint, was able to paint the images of the sort of African house servant image that you might be familiar with through movies like Gone with the Wind, and turn them into these kinds of images by painting the clothes on them, and then cut them in a way, the final touch, which really made this so moving, is the repetition of the parts of the body just stacked one on the other. So you have this repetition of these three praying hands, and taking it completely out of cliche and into this very unusual world. And it's a very compelling contemplation on racist iconography. Really powerfully effective piece. And at the time we were doing this, historically what was going on, I think the president was George W. Bush, and there was a lot, during campaigning, there was a lot of talk about whether we should torture. And this was the period in American history where the American president came out and said that he condoned torture in order to find information out about terrorist plots. And he actually declared that prisoners of war could be tortured in the United States. And of course that put our service people at great risk, because now it was said that torture was a standard operating procedure. So that's what happened to these angels. I'm going to just kind of pass this. Somebody made a mobile out of angel parts. And then here, this is a structure that's used to protect a light bulb when you're working, and it's turned into kind of these nesting angels. And this piece is quite a real wonderful juxtaposition, almost a non sequitur, two things you wouldn't expect to coming together. You have nunchucks with angels with nails in them, so they're nunchuck angels is what this is. And this was a fine piece where the student took these three angels and then turned it to stone and then broke it up. And so the stone effect is something available. There are spray paints that will actually give you this stone-like surface, so she used that. The one thing I would have done perhaps differently is putting it on a cheap piece of pressboard was probably not the best way to display it. Would have been more powerful if it had been on a slab of marble, or if the wood had been finished or just painted black. This is a kind of gruesome bride here, and here is a sort of violin playing devil from the angel idea. This angel has eyes that light up, and the battery is held in that cappuccino can behind it. And here are two angels on piles of vices. We have condom wrappers and alcohol and cigarettes and all kinds of things in there. We're moving from the angels to other cliche projects. This is a piggy bank, and it's wrapped with this gauze that says product of China with blood, and it has an IOU in the piggy bank, this image of money behind the kind of different productions, and I believe it's a reference to child labor. Here, these cigars are wrapped with the bindings of books. So these are titles from books that are wrapped around these cigars. And this is a G.I. Joe doll that has been transformed into kind of an intriguing kind of statue. And here we saw this also in the 100s project. Here is the repeated image of the Buddha, which gets to be a cliche in our world. Here is a reinvention of the idea of hear no evil, see no evil, speak no evil, with headphones, virtual reality glasses, and an iPhone. And the same idea, done in a very powerful, minimal way. Speak no evil, hear no evil, see no evil is done just by taking these heads and painting them with red dots. The Mona Lisa is definitely become an art cliche and has been approached in so many different ways. Here's a Barbie as the Mona Lisa. And Barbie is a source of constant manipulation. She is a powerful cliche, and so when you get her into situations she's not used to, you start to transform that cliche. This is the crucified Barbie. This is a again, using Catholic imagery. This is the Pieta, the figure of the dead Christ in the arms of Mother Mary, all with Ken and Barbie. And this was a close-up of a project by a student of mine. We both entered a Barbie exhibition at the UC Davis Women's Center, and she won an award for her mastectomy Barbie. Campbell's condensed tomato soup was an image popularized by Andy Warhol. Here is another image of Michael Jackson and the Campbell soup. And then this is Enrique Shigoya, the great artist. We'll look at some of his work. He incorporates popular imagery, cliche imagery, in order to create meaningful works. In this case, he's taking the Campbell soup, and it's cannibal soup, and it has critic's tongue, anthropologist with noodles, cream of dealer, model's meat, collector's broth, art historian's alphabet, museum director's tripe, fundraiser's adobe, and curator's liver, and artist brains with rice. So you can see that his soup flavors they're all a commentary on the art world. And here is one of, I think, his most profound pieces, a little immigrant Guatemalan girl sitting helpless and vulnerable in the corner, about to be flicked away by the hand of Mickey Mouse. Very powerful imagery. And he uses these kinds of central cliche images. Here he has Ronald Reagan and Henry Kissinger in this imagery. And again, the Mickey Mouse image shows up in these ancient images from Mayan and Aztec Mexico. Superman as pilgrim, meeting a Mayan god. And this is a work by Jeff Koons, who totally did not avoid cliche but embraced it, and his main technique was to make it precious and enormous. So here's a bronze cast, mirror polished balloon dog. And here's some more balloon animals made quite large in metal. And this is a life-size porcelain casting of Michael Jackson with Bubbles, the chimp. And this is kind of like a giant Chia Pet dog. This is, I believe, at the Guggenheim in Bilbao, and it is covered with flowers. Another great artist that uses cliche is Banksy. So here you can see Mickey Mouse, always a symbol of America, and most of these are done in Europe. And here's an image of Einstein drinking. Just Google it. Fantastic reinvention of the Star Wars into Stop Wars. Follow Your Dreams is canceled. What we do in life echoes in eternity is what it says, but it's being washed off because graffiti must be washed off. Here's a Banksy, again a Mona Lisa with a rocket launcher. So we're going back into looking at Mona Lisa here as Marge Simpson, bald Mona Lisa, Meow Lisa. And here is just a typical tiger rug, animal hide rug at this exhibition. But when you get closer, what you realize is the entire thing is made from cigarettes. And as long as we're going on with cigarettes, this is a transformation of a cliche of perhaps smoked cigarette butts that have been shoved into a baby bottle and turned into this image with the word suck above it. This is done by an artist for the bus shelter project in San Francisco. So this artist produced this poster as a protest against second-degree smoke, and it was hung in bus shelters in San Francisco as part of a San Francisco Arts Council project funded. Just a really wonderful, and this became adopted by many organizations that fight the effects of second-degree smoke on infants and children, and they adopted this as a poster for their cause. Another way, so the same thing that Koons was doing, but in a different way, Klaus Oldenburg would take everyday objects and grow them enormous. So this is about a 3-story high clothespin in downtown Philadelphia. Shuttlecock, giant clothespin. And here is a rather mundane image in a sense, or at least a cliche image of the crucifix that you can see thousands of everywhere. The thing that makes this different is it's really quite profound in the lighting and the mysterious environment that it's in, and it does look quite ethereal. So it's taking an image and then giving it a kind of sense of spirituality, and then you take it another step because this is by the photographer Sereno, and this piece is called Piss Christ because he submerged this crucifix in urine and then photographed it. Wolf Vastel is a Fluxus artist from Germany who the Fluxus art movement had a lot of philosophies about art and life, and this is called this piece he called Traffic Jam or Circulation Bloquée, same thing in French. And he took a classic car. I can't remember what kind of car it is. I guess it's a Cadillac in concrete. That's what it says down there. And he casts it. The actual car is trapped in the concrete, and then it's left out on the street. Here's another variation. And this was interesting. This was an installation that I saw in Los Angeles probably 25 years ago, and it was an amazing experience. These televisions that are plugged in, these old TVs, and they're half cast in concrete and then plugged in, and they have some snow patterns and some different kinds of patterns on them. And in the room are turkeys. There's about 5 or 6 turkeys just walking around, sitting and shitting on these television sets. Quite a powerful imagery. And here, again, transformed this idea. These people are walking on this surface that is actually millions and millions of sunflower seeds, but not actual sunflower seeds. They look like sunflower seeds, but they're made, each one is handcrafted porcelain, produced in Jingzhou, China by the artist Ai Weiwei, working with over 1,600 potters over a period of years to produce this many of these sunflower seeds, and they are not real. So that is the cliche assignment, and I would encourage you to enjoy that and to go out and find something, anything, lots of things, maybe play with different things and see what you can transform into from cliche into something compelling and intriguing, engaging our interest and becoming an object worthy of contemplation and spending time with. So stay safe and make art.